Rhys Strongfork is one of the leads of Tales from the Borderlands. When we first meet Rhys, we see that he is a character that we're meant to understand as a naive company man. He wants to succeed within the company that he works for, Hyperion, and wants to emulate Handsome Jack. But Hyperion's history is checkered, to say the least, and Handsome Jack's history and character is very much in the black. His admiration for Handsome Jack, while possessing knowledge of the terrible things that he's done, is disturbing and strangely placed, considering just how massively bad of a person Handsome Jack is. His ambitions of material ascension are rather mundane, and his material ambitions overlap with an out-of-touchness with himself and others. Rhys didn't start the game out as a hero. He looks down on the people of Pandora at first. Rhys's story is a complicated mix of skewed priorities and willful ignorance in service of self-serving ambition. He's not above trying to make himself look a little better than he really is, and sometimes wants the respect of people who he shouldn't really give any time to. Rhys is also outfitted with cybernetic implants. One of his arms is prosthetic and he has an Echo eye implant. Tales from the Borderlands has choose-your-response elements to it, but Rhys's arc is still mostly set, and it all ultimately ends with him having more maturity by the end. The story of Tales from the Borderlands is told in 5 episodes. The first episode, Zero Sum, starts out with a flashback of Rhys and Fiona's situations, separately told respectively after both have been kidnapped. Rhys is a Hyperion employee who was promoted to assistant vice janitor by Hugo Vasquez, newly self-installed Hyperion boss, after murdering the previous one. Rhys then later overhears that Vasquez is planning to buy a vault key, and so Rhys and Vaughn, his childhood friend, conspire to retrieve the vault key first, and after a tumultuous encounter with Pandora bandits, Rhys and Vaughn make their way to August, who possesses the key. Rhys convinces August's partner Sasha to sell the key to himself and Vaughn, but August cancels. After the deal goes sour, the briefcase with the money meant for Rhys and Vaughn to purchase the vault key is stolen. Rhys eventually installs an ID drive into himself, originally belonging to Professor Nakayama, and what follows is a high-stakes chase for the briefcase during a race on Pandora. Rhys actively pursues the briefcase, but Fiona's mentor Felix eventually grabs it, betraying everyone else that he'd been working with, including his student and Tales from the Borderlands co-lead Fiona. The explosive lock on the case is activated, much to Rhys's dismay, but while the remaining party, including Rhys and Fiona, are venturing inside an Atlas facility, Rhys begins to hear the voice of Handsome Jack again, who makes a hologram appearance to only Rhys, and remarks upon having found the Gortys Project. In the second episode, we see that Rhys is thrown off by the introduction of the Handsome Jack hologram, the source of the voice that he'd been hearing. Meanwhile, the rest of the party he's traveling with discovered a map in the Atlas facility they were exploring. Handsome Jack tries to rip out Rhys's throat twice, but fails. All the while, the Handsome Jack hologram is puzzled as to why he can't kill Rhys. Rhys informs him that he is already dead and that Handsome Jack is a hologram, though the latter wasn't aware of that. Later, Hyperion missiles are being sent to the Atlas facility that the party is exploring, and so the group makes for an escape, with Vaughn and Rhys getting separated from Sasha and Fiona in the ensuing chaos. Handsome Jack appears again to Rhys as a hologram. That Rhys can choose to step forward about hologram Handsome Jack to others is a recurring choice in the game, and adds to the moral complexity of Rhys's actions as a character. Vasquez also chases down Vaughn and Rhys in person while they're trying to escape. Later, the player can choose where Rhys and Vaughn will travel, but ultimately the full traveling party present from the start of the episode will travel to Old Haven, and enter an Atlas Corporation facility there, later unfortunately met by Vasquez and August. The full party of 4 are apprehended. Vasquez takes Rhys away, August takes Fiona away, and Vaughn and Sasha are left apprehended separately. Vasquez talks a lot about how Handsome Jack used to abuse him as a sign of affection, and demonstrates that to Rhys. All the while, Handsome Jack is trying to remember who Vasquez is, though his memory later finally comes to. Rhys and Fiona work to separate themselves from their captors, but later activate a fleet of security robots, with both Fiona and Handsome Jack suggesting to Rhys different plans of escape closing the episode. Regardless of the choice made, Fiona and Rhys will flee successfully. While Vasquez tries to pursue, he is killed by Valerie, August's mother. Valerie's plans to kill the others are halted by Athena's intervention, with Athena later revealing that she was hired by Felix to look after Fiona and Sasha. The Gortys robot is also later activated, and the party begins to move to seek upgrades for the robot. Gortys is incomplete, and the Atlas Corporation is defunct at this point, leaving pursuit of upgrades to be done on foot. As it turns out, the Atlas Corporation designed Gortys to locate a particular vault on Pandora. Along the way, the player can choose to form a temporary alliance between Rhys and Handsome Jack, the former's respect for the latter still intact. After securing one upgrade for Gortys, the party are ambushed by Valerie, who coerces Gortys into revealing the location of the next sought-after upgrade. The fourth episode sees Rhys and Fiona's party sans Vaughn seeking a vault beacon with Valerie's weapons aimed at their backside during their trip, in the form of some of her gang goons traveling with them to the base. The beacon is located in Handsome Jack's office on Helios, and to get to space, the caravan used throughout the game is outfitted for space travel. Rhys and Fiona make their way onto Helios, still owned by the very operational Hyperion Corporation, disguised as Vasquez and a tour guide respectively. During the episode, Rhys also has the option to tell Fiona and Sasha about the presence of Handsome Jack's hologram. The original plan is for Fiona to lift the beacon, but plans go awry and Rhys makes the venture to the office. Once Rhys makes his way there, Handsome Jack makes another bid to Rhys, offering Rhys control of Hyperion, a choice that the player can make. Regardless of the choice made, however, Handsome Jack's AI will be uploaded onto Helios with or against Rhys' will. The final episode sees Handsome Jack trying to forcefully place a robotic outer skeleton onto Rhys, after some flattery and sweet-talking. The robotic skeletons are part of Handsome Jack's plan to eliminate disobedience within Hyperion Corporation. All disobedient employees will have a skeleton forced onto them, subjugating their will, and he wants Rhys to be the inaugural member of his robo-army of sorts. Rhys unambiguously thinks that the plan is disturbing, and so Rhys moves to escape Handsome Jack's office. Rhys's admiration of Handsome Jack is gone, and so he moves to wipe out Handsome Jack by sending Helios on a collision with Pandora and turning off Helios's power. Fiona and Rhys flee Helios in escape pods separately from the party they traveled with. Valerie's goons had taken the caravan and made for an early leave, betraying the party. Not that they were ever your allies. Rhys awakens later on Pandora and jumps out of the escape pod, treated to the wreckage of Helios and the evil voice of Handsome Jack, who has been taunting him while he makes his escape. This leads to a final showdown between Rhys and Handsome Jack, with Handsome Jack mocking the notions of what it means to be a hero and telling Rhys that Handsome Jack will always be a part of his life, due to Rhys's cybernetics. And so Rhys tears out his cybernetics, prompting false cries of mercy from Jack, before Handsome Jack ultimately disappears for good. Following this, Rhys loses consciousness. When he awakes, he is tied up, opposite from Fiona, who is also tied, and both watched and guarded by a masked stranger. The vault was opened by Valerie, but she was killed by the vault's guardian, the Traveler. Fiona closes the vault by killing Gortys, also sealing away the Traveler again. Meanwhile, we learn that when Rhys awoke and before we see him now captured, Rhys took a rights certificate for the Atlas Corporation found in the wreckage of Handsome Jack's office. After Fiona and Rhys tell their stories, they trade some animosity with each other. Rhys and Fiona are later rescued from near death and captivity by Vaughn, who has been MIA for some time and has since become the leader of a Helios-based refugee group on Pandora. The climax of the game sees the party being tasked with rebuilding Gortys and taking down the Traveler, a massive undertaking for the ragtag party, but they eventually are successful, with a lot of combined effort, and in spite of some coordination failures along the way. The end of the game sees Rhys and Fiona enter the vault, trading some cute words with each other and opening a treasure chest, which mysteriously leads to their disappearance. By the end of Tales from the Borderlands, Rhys has learned that money isn't everything and that money doesn't have to drive your existence, and Rhys and Fiona remark that they make a good team. We will see Rhys again in Borderlands 3, and with a new voice actor in tow, to say nothing nothing of the mustache. Fiona is nowhere to be seen as of yet. Tell us what you think about the character of Rhys. Rhys was not meant to be a hero, but ended up becoming one somewhat by way of the actions he took and how the Helios survivors responded to those actions. Do you think that by the end of Tales from the Borderlands, Rhys is a heroic character? What kind of choices would you make were you in Rhys's position? Constantly offered direction by Handsome Jack. Are you happy to see Rhys return? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. As always, thanks for watching. And that about does it for this video. If you enjoyed what you watched and want to see more from GamingBolt, please hit the subscribe button. Also, don't forget to switch on the notifications bell icon next to it. That way you'll never miss any of our videos. Thanks for watching.